Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 819. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Or in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
On this episode of the podcast today, we have the second half of our commentary for The Edge of Destruction, the similarly titled The Brink of Disaster.
It's called Exercises in How to Use a Thesaurus.
That too. Good thing there wasn't a four-part story. Speaking of the brink of disaster.
The cusp of oblivion.
The cusp.
Bad stuff a-coming. How about that?
Yeah. Because, of course, the show was on the brink of disaster at that point because they thought, well, we might have to wrap this thing up soon, so maybe just go bring it up to 13 episodes and then sign off. And then, the Daleks are hit, apparently. Okay, no, actually, it happened well before then. But anyway, you can hear all of our thoughts on that later on in this episode. But first, the big news, the very important news this week, of course. So Chris and Gat got a couple of kitties, and they're called Nissa and Tegan. This is exciting news, Chris. Tell us about this.
We got a couple of 5-month-old kittens and two girls from the same litter. And
are they 5 months old? They look bigger in the pictures.
Yeah, they do look pretty big.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, they're rescues, so the actual age might be, a bit different than what they estimate.
Or they're going to become strapping tiger creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But, when we're looking at cats and put the application in for these two, I figured we should call them Nissa and Tegan. And because originally one of them was thought to be a boy, so it was going to be Nissa and Adric. And then they realized that they're both actually females, and so that became Nissa and Tegan. So
Also, Adric is cruelty towards animals.
That is a little bit, actually. Yeah.
I think Kat might disagree with you on that one a little bit, but yeah. So we got them literally yesterday as we record. So they're finding their feet and learning about their environments. And, we weren't sure which one was going to be named which until we saw their personalities, but one of them was quite bolshy, and so that one is Tegan.
Which one's that? Is that the Torty?
That's a ginger one.
Oh, the ginger one is Tegan. Okay, and
then the Torby
Torty.
Torby.
Torby? Oh, is it really? Oh, that was a tortoise.
Tortoiseshell tabby.
No, I get you. It's a portmanteau. I understand now. I never heard that term before.
Is Nissa, and she's quite. The name fits the personality because she's quite like. Inquisitive, but from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
Also a math genius.
Like a proper scientist should be.
I was going to say, and also her coloring kind of reminds me of Nissa's Trocken costume, which she wore for the vast majority of her time on Doctor Who.
I can tell how much the cats care about these names. Not one jot.
Not at all. They do not care.
I mean, they're cats. They don't know their names anymore. They don't know what they're called anyway, so... Doesn't matter if they were called something else a week ago for the Fosters and...
Yep.
Different stuff yesterday and today for being here. But yes, they are cute as hell.
They look lovely. And I saw Kat tweeted 3 pics and also a moving image of one of the cats jumping up there. And I thought...
For your benefit only.
Yeah. And this basically, in those couple of tweets, Kat did more to promote her new cats than the BBC did to promote the new series.
That is one hell of a segue, but I'll allow it.
Yeah.
There's the old saying where it's not the destination, it's the journey. Here it is, the destination.
This is a transporter journey.
We are happy.
To quote Star Trek Enterprise, it's been a long road.
We are excited. I am excited about there being a new season of Doctor Who. It's premiering October 31st. It's a 6-part series. It's called Flux.
Now, is the series called Flux, or is that just the opening episode?
I think the whole
the arc.
The arc is
Yeah,
called
that's what I figured, but who knows?
It's called Flux. Now, the journey to get from there to here is another tale altogether.
Yes, it is.
And one that has occupied most of the conversation around Doctor Who over the course of this past week. So, to recap, earlier this week, the BBC tweeted out a pic of what looked like an old Sontaran spaceship hovering over London. I thought that's some interesting Photoshop work. Liverpool, sorry. But it wasn't a Photoshop. They actually put a projection, apparently, of the Sontaran spaceship over Liverpool. Apparently, this happened. I know this because the Liverpool Echo reported on it and didn't mention Doctor Who in the headline. So good. I thought it was just a Photoshop thing, but apparently they did this thing. And then, and this is the exciting bit, after BBC did other tweets and stuff and like announced the new season 17 Blu-ray and stuff, we'll talk about later, for some reason, all of their social media accounts and website and YouTube channel went down. By design? By accident? Who knows? Because it showed up about a day later. All of a sudden, there was a thing that says, "Can you hear me?" And then there was a short 20-second teaser about Jodie Whittaker talking to camera with Mandip Gill and John Bishop behind there sort of operating the TARDIS. And there was an announcement and a picture saying that Doctor Who Flux is coming October 31st. And then this morning on Sunday at like 5:21 in the morning for us, so just past noon in the UK, they put out two like random teaser pics, I guess, and that's it. And there's your promotional effort. That's all this was building up to this weird Saturday afternoon, evening mention of Doctor Who coming October 31st.
That was a bit of a cluster flux is what it was.
It was a cluster flux.
The best comment I saw was from Lil Romana on Twitter, who said, "How does Dan have any idea what he's doing on the TARDIS console?" I'm like, that's a pretty good point.
Oh, well, maybe we'll find out. Maybe that's the true teaser. Anyway.
One remark I saw was something about them making a bold choice to call it something that rhymes with sucks.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Flux sucks.
Art.
Although,
Dart.
Myself and John Williams, ex of Tachyon TV Parish, were back and forthing on Twitter last night, and it started with me going, Flux. And we just kind of ran with it.
Yes. I saw that. So, in my opinion, this was a disaster.
I agree with you. I think they thought they were being clever, and sir, they were not being clever.
Well,
why do it otherwise?
I don't know. At this point, like the fact that like the pictures came out like at a random time, and like the accounts were like literally canceled by Twitter. So you went to the Twitter accounts and saw something's wrong. This account is no longer exist.
There was also the Google stuff.
The Google stuff?
Yeah, if you search Doctor Who on Google, it came up with, oh shoot, what the heck was it? I'm going to have to find the darn thing now. Give me a minute. But
is it going to be like every news alert that I sign up for?
No,
the top three are Doctor Who, and then like the rest of a Doctor Who prescribed ivermectin or something like that. Yeah,
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Don't take horse paste, by the way. Don't take it.
Oh, damn it. I have it right in front of me.
It's the dumbest thing to do. If you do, you come up with a marketing campaign for Doctor Who.
Until the next dumbest thing to do, which I'm sure is coming.
Has that banter been enough for you to find the thing that you wanted to look for, Chris?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. Well, I tried. Warren has thoughts. Go for Warren. What do you?
I think that they thought they were being clever and viral, and all they had to do was just put a trailer out, and we would have all lost our mind. Now, having said that, we all complained about it for about a week, which meant we were talking about Doctor Who. So all publicity is good publicity, I guess, but I don't think it is. I think this doesn't.
It's not good.
Doesn't help.
The fugitive doctor stuff.
Okay.
On Google. So if you trying to load
meaning
a Reddit.
Joe Martin, like
confused here. No, I'm trying to load a Reddit thread which seems to have a screenshot, but anyway. If you did a search for Doctor Who on Google the other day, they would bring up a series of images of the various doctors, and some of them would be labeled as fugitive doctor underneath and stuff. As I Tap, tap, tap
Are the
away.
people in charge
sorry.
of Facebook also in charge of Doctor Who marketing? Because this sounds like the level of competence.
Well, it was so weird. Like, I'm still in two minds whether or not this was intentional or not. Just because the timing was weird. It wasn't like they tweeted out like, "Oh no, something's happening," and then it went down. It just all of a sudden everything just disappeared, and then everything just sort of popped back up. But like everything disappeared. So if you wanted to read about like anything else with Doctor Who, you couldn't do it. If you wanted to read about literally like the day before the trailer and all the information about the season 17 Blu-ray came out, that was gone. You couldn't read about that anymore. You couldn't read about anything regarding Doctor Who at all on the Twitter account at all.
From the BBC Twitter account.
The official BBC Twitter account, the official BBC YouTube page, the official BBC website. There was still an error message. Like, if the error message on the Doctor Who website was anything other than the basic one, it says, "Oh, it's gone a bit wibbly wobbly" or something like that, which is your standard 404 page on the BBC website. If it said something like, if there's a special page that it went to,
like aliens have taken over,
or something like that, to maybe be a teaser, but no, it just looked like the damn thing went down. So I don't know if they did this on purpose or not. And the fact that
I think they did because it's so uniform.
The fact that I'm still wondering about this 2 days after the fact and not actually talking about the episode itself, and indeed the lack we still don't have a trailer at the time of recording this. This is we're recording this at 10:19 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, daylight time, before daylight time, before this, so an hour and a half before this actually thing comes out. We don't have a trailer. It could drop any time. Those pictures dropped at 5 a.m. for us. You never know. Maybe they'll just there's your trailer right there. There you go.
I wouldn't surprise me if a trailer comes out today. That's just my gut feeling.
The effort for all this, I would think, is all overt and purposeful.
Well, it's dumb,
but also wrong-headed. I'm not saying it's not wrong-headed.
If they're partnering with Twitter to
they're not. They just pulled their account. They just pulled it because they came back online.
Because all the stuff came back after. Right?
Oh, it does. But that's what happens when you suspend your account, and then they probably said, "Could you just suspend our account for a day or so, or something like?" Because then when it came back,
that's still partnering with Twitter.
I suppose so, unless you can.
And if they're partnering with Google for this Fugitive Doctor thing result, so and they also changed things up. So if you looked at this thing, it shows the first Doctor as David Bradley. Tom Baker's picture just says the curator underneath. So
I would bet a lot of this is going to make sense when you watch Flux, or the first episode thereof. Because no, I'm not defending them. I'm just saying I bet you this is all stuff they're doing now, and then that's going to happen in the episode or something similar, right? The Sontarans takeover or whatever, and then all these social media accounts go down. I would bet that it's a small and pointless element of the first episode, and then we'll go, oh, that's why they did it. It was still stupid. I'm not defending it.
No.
I also think it's dumb. I don't think it accomplishes anything, but I bet you it's calculated to also reflect in the show itself.
I guess if you follow stuff on Twitter, I guess then yes.
I never said it was a good idea.
No, it's not a good idea. Someone else pointed this out. Max Curtis said this on Twitter, and this is also criminal. The fact that we haven't heard anything about the show for like months, and then all of a sudden, in a 20-second teaser where the Doctor is talking to camera and just casually mentions in passing that the Sontarans and the Weeping Angels, the biggest Doctor Who monster to come on board to Doctor Who since the Cybermen, are returning to Doctor Who, and we don't see a teaser image. We don't see anything from them. They get mentioned in passing. It's just, you could have built this up. If the Weeping Angels are coming back, you don't just sort of mention, oh, by the way, the Weeping Angels are coming back in your 20-second teaser.
I mean, the set report showed that ages ago, which shows
okay,
it's out there now. But
if you're following set reports,
I know. Calm down.
Oh, God.
Calm down.
Calm down. If you.
No, Chris isn't wrong. You're getting a little wound up.
It's just
more
annoying.
than a little.
It's just annoying. It's annoying.
Of course, it's annoying.
I suspect that this all happened more or less in the way it was supposed to happen. But I have a feeling that it might have been rushed or done too early. I think that they might have been wanting to do maybe next week because as we talked about last time,
right?
Like Jodie Whittaker's on Graham Norton's show on Friday the 15th.
Yeah.
So the marketing train is ramping up, and I think this might have maybe had to been, the trigger might have had to been pulled prematurely or something. I don't know, but it felt weird.
It felt weird.
It wasn't executed properly, no matter how they planned it.
No.
Yeah,
But
Or at least they didn't get the result they wanted from what I
but I don't know that it wasn't planned that way.
Well, if it was planned that way, it was planned wrong. And it was planned way too late. It seemed slapdash. It seemed an afterthought.
This is the marketing equivalent of those Facebook glasses with cameras in them. That turned out to be a bad idea.
The execution might feel slapdash and whatever, but I mean, this might have been planned months ago.
Well,
just because it has poor execution doesn't mean it has a good planning.
It's just like whenever you see something come out and it doesn't work, and you say to yourself, "Did nobody at that table say this is a bad idea?" Probably nobody did.
Yeah,
that's probably what happened.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
Or it got farmed out to some other agency with a bold new idea that was probably somebody's kid. Like, who knows? Nepotism could have been involved. I'm just making stuff up at this point. But
if I don't know, because if it's like BBC Studios doing this and BBC Proper doing that and whatever, and you know somebody missed a Zoom call and I don't know. It felt weird, but
yeah. What it boils down to is. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say one remark I saw on something I was just looking at a minute ago was like, it was on Twitter, somebody remarking about the whole the fugitive Doctor Google search thing. Like some casual fan goes to search for Doctor Who and it just happens to be on that day.
Right.
And they're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And they just like change the channel, as it were. And it's like, I don't even care now.
I know.
And it just turns people off.
They probably wanted to try something different instead of the usual pictures and trailers, but pictures and trailers work, so why not just go with them?
Exactly.
It's not abnormal. It's quite normal, in fact, that especially in the Chibnall era, nothing happens for the longest time, and then there's this deluge within a couple 3 weeks of launch. And
what's kind of interesting about this is like back in the old days of like the 2000s video games, it really caught on with marketing video games. Like I think Halo did this and a few other games where they'd have ARGs and they'd have all this other tertiary stuff and it'd become a big mystery. Lost, I think, might have done this too, the TV show. But it just, guys, that's almost 20 years ago now. like don't. Yeah. And we don't need to do that.
And the ARG, that weird thing that sort of had all these clues dropped in there and stuff, and then people just sort of hacked the source code. Oh, there it is. There's your little teaser. It's a phone call. Oh, okay. Like that was nothing. So that was.
And I've heard the
planned.
phone call is kind of cool that you can call and the doctor answers.
Apparently, yeah. In the UK, you can phone, and that was kind of. There was this lovely video that sort of went viral about this young girl who, like, had heard the doctor talking to her on the phone, and she thought was pretty cool and stuff. This is the stuff that'd be fun to talk about, like a trailer and stuff and everything else. But no, we just have to talk about how, like, did BBC just go down? What happened? Oh, so it's back now. Oh, it's back, and it's coming up to. Oh, and that's it. And then you get your one pick. Nice artwork, great artwork, very intriguing about how the lines of the
it is cool artwork. I agree.
Yep.
Do you think it's warranted to have a shortened or stunted ad campaign, marketing campaign, because the series is itself shortened?
No. It's like,
do you expect them to put the same effort into a 6-episode run as they do a 10?
Yeah,
or 12,
yeah.
or 13?
It's the next series. It's Jodie Whittaker's last complete season of Doctor Who. This is her swan song. I know she's got like three specials after this over the course of a year, but they're shooting the last one right now. But like, this is the build up to her finale as Doctor Who, and instead they just decide to wipe Doctor Who from the internet for a day and a half. Is that marketing? I don't know if that's marketing or just confusion, and I'm going to side with confusion. At this point,
I'm no marketing expert. Maybe this is something people do and it works, or maybe it's something that they've tried with like other properties.
Right.
I have no clue, but it didn't work here. Is what I'm.
No, we've spent 20 minutes of this. We've talked about Chris's cats, which is great, and we talked about how
that was fun. You were happy, and then you became insane.
I know. So. It's really disappointing. I want Doctor Who to be successful. I want Jodie Whittaker's Doctor to be successful, and I feel like that she has just been just mishandled by the BBC and the BBC marketing department, and it's a shame. It's a real shame. I will say this, that the Bad Wolf Russell T Davies era will feature different marketing, because I think they're going back to an outside firm, kind of like when they had a brand manager with Edward Russell. It's not Edward Russell. So I'm hopeful that this reign of error will end in regards to the promotion of the show.
Nicely done.
But we still have to sort of put up with it right now. I don't understand what their approach is for marketing Doctor Who. It's just baffling to me.
I don't know.
Well, in 2 weeks, you're not going to care.
Am I? Well, most people.
No, you'll have forgotten it because Doctor Who will be on and be happy again.
I'm not I'm not the only person that
3
thinks
weeks,
this, and there's a lot of people just sort of like.
Oh, I never said that. I'm not talking against you here.
No,
I agree
no.
with you about everything you said. I'm just you're at a 10. We need you at about a 5.
I know.
So you're saying, Stephen,
Uh-huh.
that Doctor Who fans are upset over this?
They're well, I from what I've seen,
More
yeah.
upset than Doctor Who fans are usually upset.
There's just a level of cynicism that's sort of around the marketing efforts of the show that I think is not hard to sort of draw a line to the actual product. And I'm looking forward to a 6-part series, a one complete story. I think this is kind of neat.
I'll definitely say that efforts such as these are definitely not going to help sway any opinions for the hashtag Not My Doctor crowd.
Right?
Oh God! Well, nothing would, and who cares what they think?
And it's like everyone blames Chibnall, like Chibnall had the passwords to the all the Doctor Who accounts and say, "Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll take it offline, and no one will talk about Doctor Who at all. It'd be great, and then we'll bring it back, and everyone will say, "Where'd you go?" I don't think that's the case.
Well, that's because that would have happened if Moffat or RTD had done this too, because he's besides the Doctor, he's the only person people will focus on because he's the most publicly known person.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever he's not in the room, everyone should be asking, "Where's Poochie?"
Where's Poochie? Yeah. Anyway, Doctor Who Flux coming October 31st, as we predicted on this
Wasn't
podcast.
Flux like the name of like some Doctor Who card game?
It's a card game. I said
Yes,
that.
it was.
I tweeted the
I had
picture
those
out.
cards.
Yeah. It had 2 X's. Flux was the basic card game.
Oh, that's right. I played that thing too.
Yeah.
Last time I was in Vancouver.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. It's. I mean, the Flux is the card game, and they have kind of like Doctor Who Trivial Pursuit.
Doctor Who is like a card set for the main.
Yeah,
Flux
there's
game.
a bunch of different Fluxes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So it's the Flux. They say the Flux is coming. It's the name of the teaser and stuff. But is the Flux? I don't think the Flux is an alien or
So who
being.
gives a flux?
Who gives a Flux?
They ripped it off from the Series 3 of Star Trek Discovery, where the Terror or the Ripper, some damn thing, did the same thing to the Federation.
Oh, was that what it's called? I already forgot.
I can't remember what it's called.
No.
Season 3 of Discovery has kind of slipped from my mind.
Season 4 trailer, a proper one, just came out yesterday as well.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did.
And they have
watch it slip from my mind too.
And they have an anomaly.
Oh, an anomaly! I love
Anomaly on Star Trek.
anomalies.
That's boldly going.
Is it another crying child at the epicenter of some massive explosion that ripped the universe apart?
Oh, way to spoil.
Star Trek Discovery from 2 years ago. Yeah. Anyway, Doctor Who.
October 31st.
October 31st.
Halloween, which was rumored for quite some time. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. We were yelling and screaming and just announce a date, will you? And they did do that.
They
We'll
did
give
do
them
that. Still don't have a trailer. Still don't have a proper trailer as of time of recording, which,
Nope. And you, I suspect your guess about Whittaker's appearance on Graham Norton will be correct insofar that they probably show a clip rather than a trailer.
Probably.
Although, who knows?
Based on the random 2 images that they chose for promo. And so it's basically, if for those who can't see, links in the show notes, by the way, iReadIfYouScar.com. But there's a couple ones. There's the Doctor, Dan, and Yaz looking outside the TARDIS going, ah. And then there's another one, and they're walking around the corner going, and that's it. And there you go. And those might even just be stills from the promo that came out way back when.
They could be from a cold open.
They could be.
Nothing in any of this limited stuff about what's his doodle from Game of Thrones either.
Vinder, no. Jacob Anderson, no, he's not in there at all. So once again, the marketing efforts is basically don't show anything lest anything spoil, as opposed to tantalize but don't tell.
Carefully curated.
Sure, we'll go with that.
I just remember the RTD trailers and us Kremlinizing them, and then it would turn out that everything was from the first 2 episodes.
I know. I missed that, though.
Or just wasn't from episodes at all. Like
but they were well put together trailers that got you excited. So.
Oh, yeah. Like the Trip of a Lifetime trailer with the doctor running down the hallway with a fire behind him.
Yeah.
Like
or even the one with
nothing
Donna
from the series, but it looked good.
and Will. Or not Will. God.
Wilf.
Well, thank you. I don't know why I had a brain for it there. Anyway, yeah, that's a great trailer.
Yeah.
And it's got very little to do with anything except the first episode, but it still works really well.
Yeah. I know. Like like the teaser basically is one shot, one camera shot. They probably shot that like at the end of the day. Okay, let's shoot the trailer for season 13 now. And it's just Jodie talking to camera. Anyway.
With an old school test pattern.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
Looking forward to the show. I just disheartened by this all. Disheartened by it all, I gotta tell you. Anyway, shall we move on from this? Does anybody else have anything to say about
They screwed up the end.
Yeah, they did. They really did. Really impressed by the projection thing over Liverpool, though, I have to tell you.
I thought that was one of those Dalek platforms at first. I forgot that was a Satar show.
I know, I had to think, like, Satarn show was like 11 years ago or something like that. And 13 years ago. And I wasn't sure. So we don't. I'm not sure if we have an actual premiere date. I saw one part that one thing that says it's going to be 8:30 p.m. on Halloween night, which feels awfully late for Doctor Who.
Is that
unconfirmed?
Well, Halloween's way much less of a thing in the UK than it is in North America.
Yeah. So
I mean, I there's still like a trick or treat culture and whatnot, but it's not what it is here. So I don't know if 8:30, because 8:30 seems, especially on a Sunday night.
Sunday night.
It's school
for
as
kids.
Well. So I mean,
yeah.
Any kids who, that might be a tough one if it is that late. But if it's any earlier, then does that conflict with other people doing like Halloween based stuff?
Eighth.
How many times is the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown going to be on that day? And how many
also, will it be a
watch?
horror based given the date? Will it be a horrific episode?
Right.
Probably not.
Will it be a Halloween cold open, and then all of a sudden, happy Halloween, and then and then that's it. Halloween's never mentioned again. It's all for
Probably.
like.
I mean, is that any different than many a Christmas special?
Well, what about Planet of the Dead, where the Doctor's got the Easter egg stuff at the start, and that's it for Easter?
Mm-hmm. Who knows? Who can tell? Find out. I suppose we'll have to just keep watching the skies for Sontaran ships and Graham Norton appearances, and maybe a trailer, and maybe some actual build-up to this Jodie Whittaker's last full season, 6 episodes of Doctor Who.
I like how you call it a full season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, supposedly full season.
It's her last series, but yeah.
Here's her last series for Doctor Who. Anyway, Russell T Davies is. I included this in the news list because he was very angry at the culture secretary Nadine Dorries over her handling of the BBC. I include that because it really shows that Russell T Davies is fighting mad for the BBC, and it makes me wonder because remember I've sort of said like maybe the future of Doctor Who is streaming. Maybe in RTD's time on Doctor Who, maybe they won't schedule Doctor Who on Halloween on 8:30 night and in the evening. But he is steaming mad. He called the woman's an idiot, a big effing idiot, regards to her handling of the BBC. Russell T Davies is a big defender of the BBC. I'm sure there's been 2 or 3 clips of him going around about defending it, and because of that, it makes me wonder what the BBC will look like come 2023 when his Doctor Who is premiering again. And, obviously he wants the BBC to be a part of it. Is he going to be like beholden to wanting it scheduled as it did during his first time on Doctor Who or what?
How does the BBC look now compared to when the Doctor Who under his stead first came out? How different is it?
Quite, probably. I mean, there's, the iPlayer for one.
True, yeah.
Is a thing. And
BBC Three was online, then wasn't.
And is back online again. I forget where BBC. Basically, BBC Three sort of fluctuates as much as like Pluto's planet status. Essentially, is it a channel or is it
maybe
not?
Doctor Who Flux is about BBC Three?
Possibly. Don't know. find out, I guess. Anyway, there's his comments there and links in the show notes if you want to read about it. But yeah, Russell T Davies is coming as showrunner of Doctor Who. If you didn't hear, that's what's happening. Anyway, let's talk about some other stuff that's coming, and that's Doctor Who on Blu-ray, as we alluded to a couple weeks ago.
Upres Dorado.
Yeah. Yes.
Show title if we didn't already have one.
Season 17, which contained an awesome teaser video with David Gooderson returning to the role of Davros.
It is a pretty great trailer.
So I know Pete McTighe wrote the trailer, as he does most or all of them.
I think he's done all, yeah.
I don't know if it was his idea, but whoever's idea it was to get David Gooderson for it was just genius.
Genius. The trailer for a 45-year-old TV series that's coming to Blu-ray was better than the one we got for the new one. It was pretty cool. And it was just Davros. It was just him, not even in the suit. He wasn't even in the suit. It was just probably a different actor, but performing really cool. And it was really neat. And then we got to see a whole bunch of stuff that's coming on Blu-ray.
New effects. Those Nightmare of Eden effects look pretty cool.
I know. There's another new version of Shada that brings it up to 17 or 18
100,
now.
I believe.
It's 100 now. This is an episodic with slightly some additional animation, or perhaps updated animation, perhaps from the one that came out whenever it was, which is really good already. But this one's the episodic version, which is, I suppose, in keeping with how it should be properly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all sorts of stuff. I
like that there's a good amount of tribute to Douglas Adams in there as well.
Yes.
This being his script editor season.
That's true. Douglas Adams tribute. There's
including an interview with Lalla Ward about him.
Mm-hmm. Great friends they were, don't you know?
They were great friends. They met. Her and Dawkins met at a Douglas Adams party.
They did. I think
Something
it was.
like
Yeah, Douglas Adams introduced them.
He said,
anyway.
"Hey, baby, is this guy boring? You have two heads or whatever, or I'm from another planet."
I'm from another planet. Yeah.
Was it at a flat in Islington?
It might have been Islington.
Possibly
Flat.
so.
Yep.
Yes.
There's even new audio commentaries with Tom Baker on episodes of Destiny, The Daleks, and City of Death, and Lalla Ward and Catherine Scheller also on City of Death. There's an early cut of some Creatures
not
of the
together.
Pit. Not
Tom and Lalla, not together.
Not together. No. Warren, as you said, already mentioned the Nightmare of Eden updated special effects. I love the trailer because the behind the sofa stuff has amongst them Colin Baker, and he relishes in the line from Graham Crowd, "They met us some hussy." He just relishes it.
And then, of course, with the rejiggered special effects for Nightmare of Eden, that's a story that definitely could use them.
I mean,
some of the ship merging stuff.
Yeah.
Was,
I do my standard of checking out the effects and then going right back to the clunkers.
Yeah. I mean, I still think listen, that was I think the first use of Quantel in Doctor Who was Nightmare of Eden for especially the ship transfer sequence where the Doctor's like stuck in the rift sort of in between the two. That was like early Quantel, early days, man. But still, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with that. All sorts of stuff. As you know, I love the Blu-rays. I love these things so much. They do great work. And they're coming. There's no release date at all in the UK. You can pre-order them in the UK and ostensibly elsewhere. But I checked both Amazons in the US and Canada shortly after it, and I just checked Canada just before recording, and it's not available for pre-order here yet. So
December 13th is what Amazon says for the UK.
UK December 13th. Nice. That's really nice. Probably March for us.
Is that 2 months away?
Yeah, it's 2 months away. I'm betting March or April for here in North America, as seems to be the case these days. But apparently it's to iron out all the kinks. So the UK get the inferior versions and everything gets ironed out for the North American market. So,
and all we miss out on is the booklet.
I know. Why don't we have the booklet? We had one with the first one, didn't we? The Tom Baker.
Well, it's like you put on Twitter, was it? I think something like, why not include a PDF copy of it or something?
PDF,
even if you don't print it.
Yep, that'd be perfect. Because then it would just be there.
That can't be done.
I know, because every time I go like, okay, where's all the raw footage? Of course, is what I'm asking. There isn't as much raw footage on here, but because it just doesn't exist. But you can, every time I look for it, I could pop in there. Okay, is it on this menu? Nope, it just has titles and stuff. Oh, maybe it's on here. No, okay, take that. This, having to load up disc to find out where stuff is inconvenient, and it would be nice to have a little booklet for it.
I mean, there's probably websites out there you can reference, but it's not the same thing.
It's not. It's not the same thing, and you have to rely on people who have got the DVD and made it on their own reconnaissance, and so. Just a PDF.
Which for us is fine, because we have the however many months of lag between the UK and North American releases, that's plenty of time for somebody to do that for our benefit, but it doesn't necessarily help.
Get on
UK
it,
people.
nerd.
No.
Work for free.
Yeah, just put a PDF. It's already made. You already made it. Just save as instead of print as PDF, save to desktop, move it to the desktop on the disk. There you go. Bob's your uncle. With all the other scripts on there, it's just as easy to put that on there too. So please do that. For the North Americans out here, please. And thank you.
When have there ever done anything for North Americans?
That's a good point.
TV movie. That's about it.
I suppose, oddly enough, the the Doctor Who BBC America account didn't go down during the course of the whole nonsense.
That's because they're controlled by different entities.
I know.
They said, not today, BBC.
And Big
not
Finish was
today.
going, oh, where's Doctor Who? Well, I feel like
they were milking it for all it was worth. It was great.
I know. I don't think they were in on the gag either. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm going back to that again.
But they were playing along pretty well, I thought.
Playing along or just playing it up?
Taking advantage of it.
There we go. Taking advantage of this.
They basically said, well, it's all gone. Come on over to us.
Yeah. Well, we can tell you one time where Doctor Who wasn't erased. I don't know about that. Just looking back at the time lash, I don't know what segue was going on there. I had one good one with the cats, and that's all I got.
That was a big question.
Well, what are you gonna do? Let's look back. Let's look back this week in Doctor Who history, from the 10th until the 16th. We already talked about the release of the once missing episodes of The Web of Fear and The Enemy of the World last week, because it happened on October 9th in our world, but officially it was October 10th. Did you both bought those on iTunes?
Yep.
Yeah, you did.
Sure did.
Damn right.
I think I did iTunes, yeah. So I think iTunes was the easiest way to get it at the time.
Within
the only way to get it.
Within minutes of them showing up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And what I love, though, is that you go on to iTunes now, and it just has, like, classic Doctor Who, and it's just, like, for me, anyway, like, I have bought a few other things on iTunes, and it just orders them, like, randomly. It's like you could watch episode 1 of The Web of Fear, and then you could watch episode 1 of The Enemy of the World, and then episode 2.
What I love is that Apple has the wherewithal to make multiple giant award-winning series for God knows untold millions. But if you want to list off Web of Fear and Ending the World in order, no, sir, it does not do that. It just kind of lists them as episode 1, episode 1, episode 2, episode 2. It's very annoying. Yeah, and it hasn't changed in 6 years or whatever.
It's like my Plex server. I put stuff on Plex.
Yes, it's the exact same thing in my Plex server, too.
Yeah, here are 6 random episodes of Doctor Who that show up on my Plex, and that's it.
And then if you have any VAM, God help you, because I have VAM on mine, and that's apparently an episode.
Yeah.
So
it's a bit of a mess, but oh well. Anyway, that was that. Those are happy days. That's how you build a viral marketing campaign to have something to lead up to something coming back. It's not like they deleted Twitter for a day and a half. Anyway, I'll get over that. I'm sure I will.
I love. No, you won't. This is cast a pall over this entire recording.
I've had it
kind of fun.
Listen, I've had it pent up. I haven't talked about this at all over the past couple of days, and I'm just sort of letting it all out of the podcast. Just let me deal, okay?
No, I'm fine with it. It's quite fun.
Yeah. Mummy on the Orient Express, 7 years ago on October 11th, 2014.
Still holds up.
Boy, it's a good episode, isn't it?
It is very good, yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
It's one of those great ones where, later in the Moffat era, they really figured out how to do Doctor/companion Light stories. That is technically the Clara Light episode, because she was busy shooting Flatline for the most part, but she just sort of, like, instead of just having them like leave, we'll just put them in a room for an episode and still be pertinent to the plot, and they could just sort of like record all of her scenes in one day, and that's what they did. And they had Frank Skinner take over as pseudo companion during that, and he loved it, and he was great. And he was listening.
Doctor Who fan, Frank Skinner.
He was listening to an episode of this very podcast, I believe, talking about the censor rates. I remember he said that in the Doctor Who magazine interview about it. It was mentioned, so that was neat. So obviously we helped him get the role. It do that at all.
We did nothing of the sort.
Yeah.
At all, yeah. And the funny thing is wasn't that Jamie Matheson's second? He came with Flatline, and they said, "Hey, this is pretty cool. Can you also write one about Mummy on the Orient Express?" That was the elevator pitch that I think Moffat put to him. And
Something like that, yeah.
and everyone loved Mummy. And then the next week came Flatline, and that was like his first one. And boom, he's a legend in Doctor Who. So well done, Jamie Matheson.
Yeah, he fared better than Neil Cross did, in your opinion.
He did a little bit, a tiny wee bit. Is the Mind Robber Part 5 the shortest episode in Doctor Who history? I think it's it's under 19 minutes long.
Is that? I thought one of the episodes of Megaloss was
Seems
shorter.
pretty short.
Megaloss is pretty short, but I want to say the Mind Robber Part 5, which aired on October 12th, 1968, is even shorter. I don't quote. You will quote me on that, but anyway. That aired. Wrapping up the Mind Robber. You gonna check it out?
Yeah, a little over 18 minutes long.
Yeah.
Episode 5 of The Mind Robbers remains the shortest episode of ever of Doctor Who by being only being a little over 18 minutes long, and the shortest of the new one is Cold War.
They went to 6
minutes.
p.m. and the
40
strike
minutes.
was coming.
Douglas,
That's my guess.
Yeah, Douglas. No, you know what? It kind of was, because Patrick Troughton and the regular cast basically had a mini holdout and says, okay, you can tack on an episode onto the Mind Robber because the Dominators, because they had so much stuff to do. But basically, you better make your episodes shorter, because it was a mild sit-in, as I recall, with the Mind Robber and the regular cast sort of protesting about how much work they've had to it. Because this is like at the very end of the production block was the Mind Robber. So
episode 1, of course, being the Everybody Light episode.
Everybody heavy. I say everybody, but
the main cast, but it's just them.
They had to carry the whole thing.
White robots.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So there, the Mind Robber. That many years ago. How many years ago is that? 53? 53 years ago.
Or, 53. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ghost Monument. This week as well, which is the first appearance of the TARDIS in the Jodie Whittaker era.
What a fine appearance it is.
Wasn't that a great scene? Oh, I remember that. That was awesome. Like, you really get a feeling.
Singing Akinola's music is particularly good for that.
Oh, it was great. Come to daddy. Mummy. It was a great little line. I like that a little bit too. It was a weird emotional, of all the Doctors being reunited with the TARDIS, that was the most emotional moment. But as you say, because of that Sega Akinola music, and just because the build up to it. And
the only one that comes close for me is when the great Murray Gold music, when Matt Smith runs up to the newly recooked TARDIS. That part is just fantastic.
Oh, you sexy thing. Yeah, that's sort of, that thing. Yeah.
And that's mostly down to the music.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a performance element to it in the Ghost Monument. Yeah. No, that I think sort of makes it pretty cool. That was a good episode. That was shot in South Africa. I like that one. That was a good one. Very spectacular looking, the Ghost Monument.
It also gave us that cool and rather iconic photo of Jodie Whittaker on the sand dune taken by
Sean Dooley.
Sean Dooley.
Sean,
that's iconic. BBC marketing.
Yeah.
BBC marketing.
That's actually good. That's a one time. Maybe that's sort of informed BBC marketing. I think, well, hey, if we got just one of the guest stars taking pictures on his iPhone, why don't we just do that? Why don't we just use iPhone stuff later on? Just whatever we find on our phones will be our promotion. It worked once, it could work again.
I think we're really theorizing with absolutely no evidence here. So
a wee bit.
He's trying to be funny.
I am trying to be funny. What else happened? What episode did K9? I think he was in episode 1 of the Invisible Enemy, wasn't he?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Episode 3 aired. I don't know what happened. Is episode 3 the one where they go into the Doctor's mind?
I believe it is. Yes.
Okay. Aired on October 15th, 1977. Anyway.
Hey, look! His brain looks like a studio floor.
With a lot of CSO.
A lot of CSO.
I love that. I really, I know people hate the Invisible Enemy. That is my guilty pleasure one. Just a ton of fun as far as I'm concerned.
It's not without it. I hate, what's his name? Frederick Jaeger.
Frederick Jaeger. Yeah.
I just like his over the top performance. But what I do love about it is the the weird language shift thing for the phonetic signs and whatever, like emergency exit and all that.
Oh, yeah, that is weird.
All that weirdness.
Didn't Red Dwarf try that with Esperanto, too? And it never takes. Nobody cares.
Yeah, no.
Well, the Red Dwarf's premise was that the only surviving, or the not the only surviving, the only worthwhile languages or whatever were Esperanto and English.
Which is funny in its own right.
Which is funny because, yeah, Esperanto was hardly a success.
Yeah. Eric and I have started watching Red Dwarf again during our breakfast. Like sometimes on weekends we order breakfast, and we used to watch as time goes by, just because. And we were looking around for another like half hour show to watch while we're having breakfast. Like, you know what? I've always kind of want to watch Red Dwarf again because I watched.
What season are you on?
Oh, we're like literally 2 episodes in. Like it just started. So we're It's,
so you
I still think. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say you haven't yet come across the magnificence of Craig Ferguson's
no
season 1 appearance.
Nope, not yet. Nope.
I didn't. I'd forgotten about that. I still say seasons 3, 4, and 5 are the all-time champs, but the 11, 12, 10, the new ones, the new quote-unquote ones, are not bad.
Yeah.
It's just that where they went more sci-fi and less funny past season 5, that things kind of went south.
It was when Rob Grant and Doug Naylor, when they split, I feel that the magic kind of disappears.
6,
after 6. Yeah, it was after 6. And so like even
but then the ones they brought back are back to being a proper sitcom.
They're
which
proper
is what it's
sitcom,
supposed to be
but
in the first place.
I think they lose that little bit of Naylor Grant sparkle though. I think
it also
they're still funny though.
Also didn't help when Chris Berry decided to take a hiatus as well.
That's true.
And that was a few episodes
And
into
weirdly,
7.
bringing back Kachansky didn't work at all. Which should have, but didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I still miss Claire Grogan. I don't know. I don't know if she just wasn't available to come back when they brought her back in 7, but brought Kachansky back in 7. And I never cared for 8 with back on the ship with the captain.
Yeah, I didn't either.
resurrected
And the whole
that.
Coronation Street thing is dumb.
Oh, back to Earth. Yeah. I mean, that was Craig Charles being on Coronation Street at the time.
But I mean, Polymorph is, in the words of the kids these days, are probably not even anymore, an absolute banger.
Oh.
Like, it's still my absolute favorite of all time.
Really good.
I still remember, so on PBS, KSPS anyway, specifically, whenever they'd show Red Dwarf, we'd get seasons 1 and 2, and again, and again, and again, and again. And it was YTV that first showed season 3.
Oh, yeah.
YTV that first showed season 3, and I think I didn't realize they were showing it to like White Hole or something toward the end.
What an odd time for YTV.
Oh, it was weird. It was so weird.
They trimmed the hell out of it, and it wasn't even the same show really. So like so many good jokes are cut and whatever because they were not for child audiences, and so you had to wait until PBS finally picked up season 3 and see them uncut and realize how much better they are that way.
Red Dwarf season 12, just to tie it into the time lash, October 12th premiered, 2017 on Dave. There you go. There's your one. Also, we were in the midst of October 14th is when episode 2 of season 6, which I think is probably the perfect marriage of comedy and pure sci-fi, because it's like the ongoing storyline of having to find Red Dwarf again, and they're on Starbug. I think that might still be my favorite season of Red Dwarf.
And Starbucks a perfect location for the sitcom part of it.
Yeah,
because they're all stuck there, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's a good one. Anyway, I look forward to getting those. Those ones because I've barely watched. I don't remember anything about season 7, which is all on film. I don't remember anything of. I don't think I saw most of series 8, and the newer ones on Dave I don't remember much about at all, and I haven't seen The Promised Land, which is the most
they did a lot of trying to fine tune things and make it look better and do a lot of filmized stuff, and the new ones are not filmized at all. They look like HD video, which I for whatever reason works better. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
You haven't seen The Promised Land yet, hey?
Haven't. Nope. That was a year and a half ago. Haven't seen it.
Which one's The Promised? I've forgotten.
I know it's the most recent movie.
Two-night special or whatever it was.
Was it 2 night special?
I never saw it. Is it on BritBox?
Yes, I believe it is on BritBox, actually.
No, maybe I'll watch that.
Yeah. We'll get to it in 2023 when we finally have eaten enough breakfast to watch
one more thing. I do recall when they brought it back, they made a point of saying, we have models. We do not have CG, we have model ships, which I don't know if they're still doing. But
was Mike Tucker working on those?
I don't know.
He worked on the series in general.
Yeah.
I don't know if those specifically, but
don't know. Anyway, Well, hell.
That's the Red Dwarf miniscope.
That's a Red Dwarf miniscope and indeed Time Lash.
Time
Lash.
Lash.
I got more excited about that than we did about the marketing
Whatever random names we're throwing out there.
Yeah, that's not random. This is. There's more thought was put into the naming of this segment of Radio for Skaro.
No, I'm cutting you off right there. No. Kiboshed. Vetoed. No.
Okay.
That horse. The horse is already dead.
Oh, you're going to talk about...
It's already in the glue bottles.
Wow.
This is Chris, who's an expert horse whipper.
That's
so
true.
You should better take his advice.
True. Let's talk about something happy about the Edge of Reality Doctor Who video game, which of course is on VR headsets before, is now coming to consoles this week. It's coming this week, isn't it?
14th?
October 14th. They released the first 5 minutes of gameplay. It's first person, of course, so I will have a hard time with this. I will take my sweet time because I get a little bit motion sickness when I play first person stuff. But the first 5 minutes of the gameplay was released on YouTube. So yeah, stay tuned for more about the Edge of Reality, by the way.
Watch the space.
Watch the space, as people say. So yeah, Doctor Who on Xbox. There it is. It's like $32, I think, on pre-order.
And PS4.
And PS4 as well. So yeah.
It's on the Switch. It's on a bunch of stuff. Steam as well, I think.
Steam, yep. There we go. So
and this is kind of the first time this has ever happened with a Doctor Who title, as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, they ported the Lonely Assassins, the mobile game, which came out.
Yeah, but that's a little different. I'm just saying this is the first AAA Doctor Who game.
AAA? Explain what that is, Warren,
AAA
please.
is basically just a big video game. Like, say, Grand Theft Auto would be the uber example, or Gears of War or something. This is kind of in that. I don't know if Edge of Reality is quite at that level, but it's in the arena as opposed to the educational BBC games, which I liked, but they're not the same thing.
No. Why do they call them AAA? Do you know?
It just became the thing you called it in the games press.
Oh,
so
okay.
Who knows why?
Because like AAA is like,
is it like
highest
yeah,
level
I know.
of minor
It's
league
very
baseball.
confusing. In sports, it means the not lesser, but like one level below, right?
But
and it doesn't. It means the exact opposite in gaming.
We're going to have a major league baseball game.
But it's also like countries' financial ratings. AAA is like the best.
Yeah, so maybe it goes off of that.
It goes off of credit ratings and
could be. Who knows?
Ratings.
Wow. Anyway, Edge of Reality coming this week. So yeah, check their stores. Check the stores to get it because you can pre-order it now. So
keep watching the stores.
Oh yeah.
Canada's a AAA rated country by standards and poors.
Oh boy, how exciting!
Yay us! Maybe we'll get called up to
economics.
the major leagues. Yeah, fun stuff.
Bringing on the economics.
You weren't expecting this. This is like that classic Krusty episode all over again. I tell you.
We're only one of like 12 countries that are AAA.
Are we really?
Canada, Denmark, Germany, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Singapore, Sweden, Switzerland, Australia.
I was going to say.
Ooh, U.S. shafted.
I was going to say Azerbaijan.
U.S. got downgraded. So did the UK. Yeah.
I was going to try to think which. There's lots of. Actually, we are AAA already. We have 3 A's in the name of the country. So
we do. That's how we earn the AAA credit.
So rating. Panama is also. What other one? South Africa.
Panama, because they've got all the rich people's tax avoiding money.
Australia.
Australia has 3. There's probably lots now that I think about. Like Democratic Republic of the Congo has like 1. There's a lot of words in that.
I just like to brag about our banking system because it's really boring, which befits anything about Canada.
Yeah.
And we got out of the financial crisis more or less scot-free because our banking system isn't crazy.
That's true.
And that's probably where the AAA comes from.
The banks got rich too. It's funny how that works.
Well, a little less happy about that, but
funny how that works. Let's talk about some Doctor Who on Big Finish. Doctor Who, the 8th Doctor versus the Jadoon, the space rhinos themselves, and Stranded 3, the penultimate Stranded box set coming in December. Of course, that's Paul McGann. He's stuck on Earth in his blue leather coat, which is not unlike the costume he wears in with Noel and I. But anyway, there's 4.
And the blue leather coat really comes through in audio.
You can hear it. You can hear the rippling. It's like, you know what? That rippling of
just
his
like
coat.
Just like the new and improved blue coat on Colin Baker.
Yeah, new and improved.
Well, not really new,
20 years
but improved.
Old. Yeah. 4 stories in that one. You can pre-order it now on bigfinish.com. Also, you can this isn't strictly Doctor Who related, but it is Colin Baker, EastEnders' own Colin Baker showed up as a cameo on Eastenders recently. As Babin the Butcher, the Blake 7 audio, which is coming out. He, of course, reprises his role from season 3 of Blake 7 as Babin the Butcher, along with Sally Nivette, Stephen Grief, and Michael Keating.
Doctor Who's Michael Keating.
Doctor Who's Michael, and the Sandbaggers, Stephen Grief. He was in Sandbaggers, was the original Travis. Just to mention Sandbaggers because I like the Sandbaggers, basically it. The third episode of which, Vengeance Games of Babes the Butcher, is written by our good friend Elizabeth Miles, who has written many a thing for Blake 7 now. I mean, Big Finish, rather.
Yep.
So good for her. So there you go.
And she's a massive Blake 7 fan, so it's nice to see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there you go. That is coming from the old Big Finish, where they do love stories there. Speaking of stories, all the stories of Doctor Who are chronicled in the unofficial and unauthorized episode guide of the Worlds of Doctor Who called I'll Explain Later by Ron Alcock. You can order that. It's unofficial. It's a whole massive episode guide of Doctor Who, though, which I love. I love episodes of Doctor Who, episode guides of Doctor Who, rather, because that's what I grew up on. I still have all those books. That's how I learned production codes.
Same here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, except for that production code part, which I never learned.
No, you never
Universal Databank was amazing.
Yeah.
Celebration's still my go-to.
That's true. Which is a profile, I should say, in the Doctor Who magazine special from 1983. It talks about that, about the Doctor Who celebration.
Darn well should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
It's a whole magazine.
Is Peter Haining still alive?
No, he died many years ago, sadly.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, he probably would have been on this podcast by now, because he,
guaranteed,
along with Bill Stanley, the program director of KSPS Spokane, has a lot to do with
that would have been the other white whale.
Well, we had Bill Stanley and his printer.
That's true. You know what? I never remember what episode that was.
How many schedules did that printer print out? See, that's a legitimate guest.
Yeah. Good times. Anyway, you can pre-order. Links to the show notes from blurb.com. You can order the I'll Explain Later episode guide by Ryan Alcock. So there you go. That's it. That's it, everyone, for this episode. Apart from, of course, the commentary right now for The Edge of Destruction, Part 2, The Brink of Disaster.
Are the microphones wired in?
All around the condenser, most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
Welcome back to the Doctor Who Classic Series commentary for Episode 2 of Serial C, The Brink of Disaster, also known as The Edge of Destruction, which is the exact same title as the previous episode, just worded slightly differently. I hope you got your DVDs, or perhaps if you're listening in the future, your Blu-rays complete with the fully restored Marco Polo as found in Phil Morris's vault after a MI6 raid revealed that he had several hundreds of missing episodes from various different programs from the 1960s and 70s.
Kieran Heinen was found in his basement, colorizing under duress.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd have several hundred Doctor Who stories, including those ones we had never heard of.
Yeah, like what? The Masters of Luxor. They never even made this, and they have it?
Yeah.
What?
Was that
Rare Morecambe and Wise appearance on Doctor Who.
What was that, the second Doctor female prison one?
The Prison in Space. Good.
You found that one?
Oh, by Dick Sharples. Thank God they never made that. Man.
Thank God, or too bad.
You could do a
Probably
10. You could do a list of 10, like one of those like what culture lists or something on YouTube. 10 things about Doctor Who, and you could probably say 10 times that Doctor Who narrowly avoided a controversy in the future.
Here's the thing: I don't think YouTube is the proper venue for that. We don't need that on YouTube.
No. Like, the time that maybe we should black up Leela. No, don't do that. They thought against it.
Please don't introduce that to the already pretty terrible YouTube
Patrick Troughton going, baby, I should black up as the second Doctor. Baby,
please don't put this on
do
YouTube.
that. Thank God they never made the very sexist Prison in Space episode from the season 6. Anyway.
And then we do have the travesties, like the giant hat from Troughton.
Yes. Listen, if it's a giant hat or blackface, I'm going to take the hat. I would very much like a hat like that.
Also, if he has that hat, you can say he inspired Apu. Well, this is also problematic, I guess.
Very
The
bad.
Simpsons,
Right.
And his
Which is
giant
not good.
hat.
Yes.
This is
Also
just
bad.
between you and me, smashed hat.
Yep. Apu,
Let's
everyone.
start this thing.
Yeah, this didn't go very well. All right.
Here we go. Brink of Disaster, everyone. In 3, 2, 1, play.
I mean, it's 3 minutes shorter than the first one, so
That's true.
I realize time has to be filled, but not
and
by
That's really selling it, Chris.
And 500,000 fewer viewers on February 15th, 1964. Got 9.9 million viewers. Still coasting off the high.
What, this whole thing's in a closet? Who cares? I don't know
Yeah.
why somebody from New York is watching.
Yeah, there was 10.4 million watched the week before, which is staggering. Basically because of the Daleks. They're still riding off the Daleks high.
The most amazing part was, at the time, there were actually no British TV channels whatsoever.
None at all.
None.
No, not even BBC Two. I know you're joking, but are you though? Not really. There was
I don't
whatever
remember when BBC Two started or ITV.
late 64 was BBC Two. I don't remember when. Like it wasn't ITV because ITV became something else. They basically cobbled all like Tynes Teas and
There's all
Yorkshire.
those-
I just like the
television
way
that became
Tynes
ITV,
T
yes.
sounds, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So depending on what part of the country you were in, there was something else on the other side at this point.
BBC Two was just basically a diorama with Punch and Judy inside of it, going from town to town.
It is fascinating. I mean, I am not a one who wallows in nostalgia, but I like history and understanding the times in which things were made, you know. And I'm just fascinated by the idea of just a 2-channel universe, and that's where you found your entertainment.
That outfit makes Susan look like she has the neck of a giraffe.
I was just going to say that,
That is a lot of neck on Caroline.
actually-
Hartman's
Well-
looking pretty metal with this bandana, and B, Susan's looking kind of hot when she's evil. I'm just putting it out there.
Here's the thing about Caroline Ford is she's often having to literally sort of like put her neck up so she can fit into 4 shots because she's shorter than everyone else.
This is William Hartnell doing his Axl Rose there, Warren.
He's experiencing some November rain as we speak.
I guess so. Where do we go now? I don't know.
Well, you could be mine, he says to nobody in particular. Probably in.
And that's about as far as my Guns N' Roses knowledge
Yeah,
extends.
that's a bit of a stretch for me, too.
But let me tell you
Something,
about
something
Doctor
spaghetti
Who
incident.
directors. Yep.
Yes, tell us about Doctor Who directors there, Stephen.
Well, Frank Cox directs this. Frank Cox, who passed away in 2021, sadly, or was it 2020? The years are blurring together now for me. But a nice chap by all accounts, and he appeared on DVD extras for both this and the censor rights. He only directed 3 episodes. Like, there's obviously no way he's going to get into the miniscope with that.
Yeah.
Like, not even a story. Never directed a full story. Like, how many? I think is he the only one? I think it might be the only credited director to ever direct multiple episodes of Doctor Who and not ever direct a complete story.
It could be.
There's your trivia question, I guess, folks. Because basically they're going,
According,
you know what?
according to
Okay.
Wikipedia, it says
Yeah.
of all the directors who worked on the original run of Doctor Who, Cox was the only one who did not direct an entire serial at some stage.
Wow. I'm so glad I knew that. I'm so glad that bit of knowledge exists in my mind.
And he passed late April 2021.
So it was 2021. You know, because basically, I mean, there was Richard Martin who had directed one thing before this, but was known to Verity Lambert, so he was actually involved in the early parts of, you know, the formative time of the whole show, not just the episodes he directed. Frank Cox is relatively new. Douglas Camfield was relatively new by the time he actually comes to work on the show in Planet of Giants, but also, of course, did some film work with Waris Hussein on both Unearthly Child and Marco Polo. But you get the sense that, you know what, okay, it's the show. Let's put the woman from ITV on there, you know, as a producer. Sure, whatever. Put this young Indian director on there, whatever. But it was basically like, you know, they were cast-offs in a way. You know, this was not seen as anything other than filler when they first came up with the show, and a whole bunch of people, apart from the people who were making it, didn't think that it was going to go anywhere. And then the Daleks trundle on screen, and the viewing figures double, and all of a sudden, oh boy, well.
Speaking of directors, apparently Patty Russell was originally supposed to do this and had other commitments. And
they could have broken that glass ceiling 2 years earlier.
Yeah. Followed Verity's footsteps through the hole in the glass ceiling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But of course, both directors are working with cameras that do not have zoom lenses on them, because it's being shot at Lime Grove Studios, and the cameras had turrets. I think I mentioned this before, but if you've ever seen a microscope, with a little swivel thing that had different size lenses on it, is essentially what these cameras were. You could turn the turret. You could zoom in by changing lenses, but it wouldn't actually zoom in and out.
Yes. The Arri, I had an Arri 16S, which had that too, where you'd flip between, because it was a news camera.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, and it was loud as hell because it was a news camera.
Yeah, I don't know how often they did that on these cameras. If maybe they had one camera, here's your lens, stick on this lens, which is a slightly tighter lens.
That's what they did,
yeah, so they would plan their shots
accordingly.
accordingly.
In a scene break, they changed it, or when they're off the camera, they would switch the lenses up. They wouldn't do it live, obviously.
No, because it make noise. Yeah, it feels like very much so, or maybe if they're cutting to some telecine or something for some location work. Not in this episode, obviously. That's when they would sort of, change your lens, cha-chunk, for that tight shot coming out of the break.
So apparently, at the time, Doctor Who was budgeted £2,500 per episode, and this was just under £1,500 for both.
Really? For both, total?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's somebody's rent.
I mean, in today's money, it's I don't know, 50 grand, maybe more.
Some princely sum, yeah.
I always wonder what does that mean? What does the budget mean? Does stuff you have to specially build? does it factor in the salaries that the employees would get anyway? They're basically full time.
No, I bet you that's separate. I would think they would have that on a separate sheet. Not that I'm an accountant, but or in any way but it would make sense that they would have all the standard stuff, like the TARDIS costs this much to build, or these guys get paid salary, as opposed to stuff that's very specific to this episode, right?
I suppose.
Which would be why it's so much cheaper.
Yeah, it's funny that, everyone says, oh, this is a big budget production. Really, the biggest budget on Doctor Who, and shows, basically all shows, is transportation and hotel costs. It's nothing. None of what you see on screen is actually taking up all the money. It's we have to house a crew of 150 people and 20 actors. We have to bus them out here. We have to put them up in hotels. That costs a lot of money. There's your budget right there. So if it's a choice of going, do we have the time and money to go on a 5-day location shoot with the full cast and crew, or are we just going to build a cheap cyclorama in studio? Star Trek goes, we're going to build the cheap cyclorama in studio.
If you're doing a short film, you still have to feed people, so that's
that too.
Probably $250 to $300, for a day's worth of feeding people.
Yeah,
and that's if you got, because I did it once. I shot a little thing, and I had 4 or 5 actors who, out of the goodness of their heart, did it for free, including a union guy who did it on an assumed name because he loved Doctor Who so much.
Holy crap!
But I still had to feed them, and so which I'm not complaining about. You have to do that. And it was $250, and that's me, some schmuck with a camera. So a real production like this, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, but here you got the BBC canteen, probably, or whatever they had at the Lime Grove studio at the time, everyone goes down there, it's already being paid for by the BBC, not really outside of on the production itself. This is why everyone makes things in studio. This is why they're shooting in the round now, in the volume, as opposed to going on location.
This is why big budget TV shows still do the thing where they have a standing set, because it's a TV show and you have to spread it out. It's not a movie.
Essentially, we're watching something being shot in 1964, but the mentality of making TV, the technology has changed, the writing style has changed, the acting style has changed. Very little else, when you think about it, has changed.
Yeah, stuff looks more cinematic now, but that's it still works the same way in terms of pacing. Stuff on, let's say, I remember when the streaming services were new, and you'd have, we can do anything now. But there's a reason besides the commercials that this kind of works. So
Yeah.
why don't you stick with that?
Like, I think there's recording breaks in this episode. I know that Mervyn Pinfield, who directed, I think, the Space Museum and the Sensorites, the first 4 episodes of the Sensorites, would at times like attempt and succeed in recording an entire episode without a recording break. You know, sometimes at the expense of maybe he should have done that just for, for tension and pacing and whatnot. So basically, if you were to watch one of the episodes of the Sensorites, in however long it took you to watch that episode is exactly as long as it took to make. It's
he also did first 2 episodes of Planet of Giants, apparently.
Planet of Giants. He did the first 3 technically. Campfield did episode 4, but
Yes. Well, for how it exists now.
yeah, it's good of him to give Douglas Campfield the credit for that, though. His first TV credit, given that he directed half of it. Gone forever.
But lovingly recreated by Ian Levine.
That's right. With Toby Haydock doing some voices, as I recall. Can we point out that
and other people we know.
yeah, the TARDIS alarm system is really needs a system upgrade because it's basically blue screening of death, but not saying anything as to what the problem is.
Before there was a blue screen of death.
Yeah.
A moment ago, Hartnell, the doctor, was saying how his machine can't think. And obviously that's been supplanted by the TARDIS is basically another intelligence.
Yeah.
Later on.
The making of documentary on the DVD actually references and sort of makes a comparison between this and Boomtown, with them pulling, the heart of the TARDIS being an energy source.
But we have no surfing Slovene or Raxagorical
No. I think Annette Badland was old enough to be watching this when it first went out.
Possibly. Yeah. Ted Lasso's own Annette Badland.
Ted Lasso's own. Imagine by the time this commentary goes out, the season 2 will have already been and gone.
Yeah, as recorded, it's only a couple of weeks away. So yeah.
Heard a snippet of that jungle sound, which shows up everywhere in Doctor Who. I wonder who made it. I wonder if it's an actual... If you've heard it in Planet of the Daleks. You've heard it in... I think it's on Planet of the Spiders as well. I wonder who made it, because it shows up everywhere.
I love the deductions and the piecing together bit.
Yeah.
That we're seeing here.
It's a good team effort. I know, Warren, you were saying about how, the 4-person TARDIS. I don't think there wasn't much of a team aspect in the Davison years, and maybe there was a bit more of a fam idea with the 13th Doc, but this is very much like they're all piecing it together,
Oh, yeah. And this kind of story, I can't remember what it's called, but the Dream Lord story.
Amy's Choice.
Yeah, that's one of the few times they've done this. They don't often do it.
Like this sort of this.
Yeah, sort of where are we and what's happening thing.
Yeah. It's a bold step. This is...
Although I guess Journey to the Center of the TARDIS is kind of a little bit of that.
Well... This seems remarkably bold. I mean, as we mentioned, this is, out of necessity at the time of planning. But like as your third story, especially after the Daleks have gone out and like just been a massive hit, like this is a weird story to do.
Yeah, as mentioned, when this was planned, the Daleks, the hype over the Daleks wasn't known or a thing.
Yeah.
But I love this bit here. It's the lighting, and it's just Hartnell, and there's the black in the background, and just the light on him, and the push in, and
it's a good shot.
His acting
isn't it? Yeah.
And this is where crappy resolution and black and white really works to your advantage.
It really does. The atmosphere.
Because like if you did this even in the 80s, it wouldn't work as well.
No. yeah, like, boy, Doctor Who had lighting back in those days. If you watch Doctor Who from the 80s, it's like, nope.
Yeah.
But even if you tried it, like even if you were properly trying to do proper lighting, it still wouldn't look the same.
Mm-hmm. It's one thing I want to learn more about. I'm not very good at lighting. I don't quite understand how it's supposed to. All I have to do is like watch a 15-minute YouTube video, but
that's it. And then you're a cinematographer. I believe that's how it works.
At least I know a little bit more than what
Janusz Kaminski presents Take My Job.
Here's the infamous shot here. Oh, it's just a spring.
Please tell me when.
With the felt tip of the...
the felt tip. The debate still goes on whether or not that was a stagehand writing it there so William Hartnell will know where to look, or if that's actually meant to be. Because you know what? Given the very DIY nature of the TARDIS now, I could totally, like now, you could totally see the Doctor writing Fast Return on a little light switch that he has on the console. So I think it's totally in character.
Even some of the doodads that Whittaker's console has, even there.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the biscuit dispenser in this thing, huh, Hartnell? Come on.
It's funny that wall there with the fault locator is the most dominant wall, because, we think of the round things, the roundels, as being such an iconic part of that first TARDIS set, and it is, but there's actually a lot of the TARDIS set that isn't the roundels.
See, Twice Upon a Time lied to us.
Yeah, Peter Brahatsky. Doctor Who's forgotten designer. I've done that with pins.
Yeah, it was set to evil, of course.
Yeah, yeah, because it made everybody go crazy. That's the thing. One spring makes everyone go, blah, I want to murder people.
See, and even like his explanation of it all is like, this is something that was done. There wasn't actually a fault, so the fault locator can't tell us because it's.
It's like, yes, your keyboard is typing all Z's because you're pressing it. That's why.
You've fallen
So
asleep
canonically,
on it.
that is the same ring that Capaldi wears.
That'd be kind of
Like it's
cool.
the original ring, and then it falls to the
But
cracks.
it falls off
and
Sheldon's
gets
finger.
destroyed.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
That's true. And then he finds it again somehow, and then it falls off of his finger, and
I
it's
see
somewhere
what's
at the
going on.
bottom of Whittaker's TARDIS.
Under the grates. Duh.
Hey,
It's also
camera
nice-
guy, steady that up. Come on.
Yeah, I hate that. As we might have talked about this before, but cameras back in those days were basically 5 people.
Yeah, I'm sure they're
Moving.
monsters.
Oh, just giant things. It's interesting actually because
Hey, who invited Hugh Hefner in this?
Richard Martin used oftentimes in the Dalek Store, and I noticed a couple shots in the previous episode that he directed too here, where he used what was called a creeper, which is a studio camera, but it was a very low one. I don't know if it actually swung down or was positioned low or something, but you got some good low angle shots in there. I can't imagine what that thing must have looked like. Basically, it would have been this massive metal beast about 6 inches off the floor.
Barbara does not look thrilled with this whole situation.
No, she's very upset. It's a good performance from her.
It was a good zoom in, all things considered.
Yeah, good push in.
I
Camera
guess
slowly
pushing, yeah.
moving in. Yeah, that is tough work.
And this is where you slag out the volume. It's crap. Look at these push-ins.
Listen, I didn't work long in the TV studio with a camera, only occasionally on my first ever job in TV back in the late 90s. But I had to I don't think I even made many camera movements, but like moving a camera, even like a relatively modern camera, and getting the movement right and like still having your subject in frame and not having it bounce around, it's a tough thing to do.
Oh, those things are still tanks in the 90s, though.
Yeah, we're a little bit. They had these giant
Ikegamis,
pedestals.
if I remember correctly.
I don't know what we were using in Red Deer, Alberta in 1997, but probably not the most top-notch equipment since we were shutting the thing down. But
The story of television.
mm-hmm.
I'll never grow tired of telling this story. When I went to the 50th anniversary of the NATE and Northern Alberta Institute of Technology television program, which I took in the 90s, and one of the instructors said, and this is only a couple of years ago, it's never been a better time to go into TV, and I actually laughed at him out loud. Okay. What? Okay.
Actually ran into a friend of mine just yesterday, walking outside, who I knew from TV, from college, and then he went on to be a director for the news and stuff, and he was no longer in, and I just automatically assumed, so I got laid off, did you? No, actually, I almost got laid off. There it is. And he saw the writing on the wall and jumped. Yeah. Nice little scene. I adore this scene, by the way. William Hartnell charming Barbara again. It's a very... I'm
off to pretend I'm Amelia Earhart. See everybody. Yeah. I'm going to screw everybody up.
It's a strong character piece. I love the way that he puts her coat on, too. Rather charming.
It's a very awkward sitting situation they have going on here.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's also, the story was a thing of necessity, but also it allowed them to like establish the characters, after fighting Daleks and stuff.
I'm shipping it. I am shipping it.
It is a rare chance for a show to, in this day and age, to be able to do this. I feel like William Russell did his cue a little too early there, but
what follows this?
Marco
Polo.
Of course.
So right here, I just want to point out, acquire the Gilbert and Sullivan, and then on the YTV version, boom, it fades to black right there.
Oh.
Because they eliminated the cliffhangers for episodes that don't exist. So.
And they need to put in ads for whatever, Sailor Moon or something.
Yeah, I didn't see this until the DVD, this scene right here, until the DVD came out.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Roof of the World. Well, your move, Phil Morris. Obviously, you've got Marco Polo, both in a stored field and suppressed field film recording sitting somewhere in your vault. I assume you're just waiting for the right moment to churn them out. So we'd like to do a commentary for Marco Polo. That was the shortest credit roll in Doctor Who history. It's like, six people worked on this.
Regular cast, and Whittaker wasn't allowed to be credited as story editor and writer. So.
That's right. He was obviously written it before, but he was only ever formally commissioned on February 10th, which is 2 days after episode 1 aired. So I find that funny. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. The custom is we get to select a new story of classic Doctor Who and or season 2 or series 10 of the modern series to do commentaries on. We select those from the randomizer, and Chris has opened up the randomizer right now. Mm-hmm. Are you ready, Chris? Mm-hmm. Okay. Begin the spinning of it now. So we'll select it and do the next commentary. We've done in this batch. We've done State of Decay, and this one here. Mm-hmm. I kind of like doing these one episode at a time now. Hope you're enjoying that as well, because it helps spread them out a little bit and doesn't make your iPod Classic weighed down by all these MP3 files.
Zune is weighed down.
Zune. Oh, I never had a Zune. I had some Sony MP3 player. I remember that because I listened to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy audio.
That was a Microsoft player, my friend.
Was it really? Oh,
yes, it was.
Zune was.
When I was on the lab with Leo, I got to play with one for one of the shows, and it actually wasn't as bad as all that at the time.
Oh,
2000.
I know somebody who owned one back in the day.
I should bring
them
back.
They were fine.
Resume the Zune is what I say. No, okay, fine. Chris, stop.
Oh, no. Warren will be happy. Remembrance of the Daleks.
Well, all right. It's not so bad.
The one Doctor Who story of the 7th Doctor era that Warren has tolerated from the get-go.
Cursive. Okay, that's fair. Yeah,
from the get-go. That one has always sort of said, this is quite something. Remembrance of the Daleks. Exciting. I don't think there's a special edition. We're just watching the same one. I know it's been released on like DVD like 8 times and stuff. So, but they've mostly been the broadcast version. So we'll continue to do that. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Remember to the Alex on the next Doctor Who Radio Free Skaro Classic Series commentary, everyone. Purchase your DVDs now for that, or by the time this comes out, maybe season 25 will be on Blu-ray, and you can watch it on that or something like that. It'll be exciting. Looking forward to this.
For what it's worth, that leaves us with four McCoy stories yet undone for commentary.
God, we're 2/3 of the way through all of McCoy.
We will be, yeah.
Astounding. Well, join us on the next commentary and indeed the next episode of Radio Free Skaro, everyone. Until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.